So the area that we're in is Park County, which is just south of the county that Breckenridge Resort Town is in. You can normally fly into Denver, take I-70 west, you get into the mountain towns, you go through the Vale, you do the Frisco, there's Breckenridge there. But you can get to Breckenridge from the other side. So if you left Denver and you'd take 285 to the mountains, you can come in around the back, and what you're going to do is end up going through Park County, past Fairplay, past Alma, down County Road 9 until you get into Breckenridge. So what we found is buying land around the Fairplay Alma section of Park County was way more affordable than the Summit County Breckenridge area. But it had this huge mining history. It had an unbelievably interesting proximity to fun. The hiking's crazy, mountain goat, no problem, moose all over the place, tons of pictures of just beautiful wildlife, elk, bears. And yeah, it's normal around there because the South Park County area was a huge sort of plain right in front of the Rockies where tons of wildlife would go. And it was a huge hunting area. It was trapping, fur, mining. Mining is what really perked my ears when I realized people were staking mining claims in the early 1900s and going to town. One of the first properties we went under contract with had mineral rights signed by Teddy Roosevelt, which I thought was so cool. Like, here it is. Look at this thing in 1801. Teddy signing over the mineral rights for this one particular property I'm looking at. I thought that's unbelievable. And the mining history around this area is just crazy. And I know I keep saying that, but I can't stress enough. At one point, a third of Colorado's population was in Park County mining. Like, okay, living, not everyone's a miner, but they're all there for mining. There's some trapping and fur, but everyone's there with their burro to stake a claim, get rich with gold. And then gold fell out of flavor for some silver. All of a sudden, silver was hot in South Park County, Park County. And that area is where I was looking to buy some land to build a house. But of course, if you're buying land in a historically dense mining claim area, you better be careful. You better watch that you don't end up buying a mining claim and you can't build your house. But also, they were there for some pretty cool geology. And just because it's residentially zoned doesn't mean that it's not full of interesting history. And what's underneath the dirt, nobody knows. So when we first started looking for land in Colorado, what happened was we'd find these beautiful areas right on the side of a mountain, 5 acres, a decent price, or maybe undisclosed price. And then what would happen is it was a mining claim, or a little bit more than half of the property is a mining claim. So even though some is zoned residential, the problem is if more than half is mining, you can't build anything on any of it because the majority rules on your land plot under a certain size. So we were looking at like 2, 5 acres, something in between 2 and 5. And so we'd go under contract on a few, and then just sort of at the last minute, it would be like, hey, I did some checks with the county. Turns out you can't build on that. That's a mining claim. We're under contract and we're set to close soon. And this was totally undisclosed. Is it on me to look for these mineral rights? Well, yeah, sort of. Nobody's making any guarantees for you on that. Okay, I mean, fair enough. But now when you're buying land, checkbox. Is this residentially zoned? Is this a mining claim? Like, yeah, duh. But you wouldn't think of it in some other areas of the country. But that still got me really interested in the idea of like, this must have been a major mining area. It was. So there's all kinds of documentaries. I can link them. I don't need to do them myself, on Park County in Colorado and just how interesting the mining history is of this sort of boom bust, just getting by with their donkeys, just taking the burros out by themselves and seeing what they can get, looking for that big vein. That was real. That happened. Like the Fairplay to the South Park City, back to Fairplay. That whole area of Colorado has really, really interesting mining history. And so when I was looking for a place to build a home, I just ended up doing a lot of digging in, hey, what would be cool? Like knowing a little bit more about the mining. So I got this book, and it's this 1912 Geology and Ore Deposits of the Alma District. I got this off the internet from some guy that had like 2 of them. and I couldn't find it anywhere. I guess it used to be part of a library. But what this book does is go through from 1912 all the mining claims in the area, essentially starting with the descriptions, the history of the mining in that area, what's going on as far as ore deposits, different areas. They actually list out the mine claim numbers in one part. And they came with all these amazing maps, resources, essentially what you're looking for. If you want to go out in 1912 and stake your claim and make a bunch of money mining, they would want to sell you this book. So it would be a map showing the geology of the Alma district, Colorado, sections to accompany the map. But very much so, this was gold and ore deposits. Where do I go to get this money? I'm coming to Colorado. It is freezing in Park County, Colorado. In this particular area, just a little bit north of Fairplay, you've got crazy winds, high elevation, highest incorporated town in North America's Alma. And you're at about 11,000 feet up, and it's freezing in the wintertime. But there's money to be had if you're willing to go for it. But in the back of this book, all of a sudden I get, general plan of workings for the London Mine, Mosquito Mining District. One of the first properties I looked at was right by Mosquito Pass along County Road 12. Turned out that it used to be a mining claim for half of it. It was 5 acres, 2.56% 2.56 acres out of 5 acres was a mining claim, and the rest was residential, but it made it such that it was, most of it's mining, so it's all mining. And there was some shady business going on back and forth there. But we were under contract there. We backed out of that at the last minute when it turned out that the seller wasn't disclosing things. Like, they had sort of put forth that they had the mineral rights, but they didn't. They knew that they didn't. It was explicitly described in the documentation that they were severed. But he's just trying to get as much money for his land as he can. And that was here. That was in Mosquito Pass. So when I see like the London Mine, Mosquito Mining District, I'm like, oh, that's super cool. Map showing topography and mining claims of the Alma district in Colorado. Office copy, stamped in May 1st, 1912. It's correct. Here's your mining claims. And that takes you from Buckskin Mountain to the London Mine. Alma's just over here in the southeast of this map. Very cool. Up to Quartzville, up to the Summit and Park County lines. And then just like random pictures. Colorado State Geological Survey, bulletin number 3, back, just is talking about a specific area, view of Mount Lincoln from Hoosier Pass Road. So just up 9 towards Summit. Super cool. I'm not going to reinvigorate the mining industry of any one particular area. But if you're going to live somewhere and it was so rich in gold ore deposits and these history of people coming to stake their claim and get rich and do their mining, that's pretty cool. You should know something about that, especially where your house is. So I'm going to keep digging into this stuff. I'm really interested in the area's mining history and just people that came out to try to get rich in that area. And, did they make it? Did they not make it? Did they get by? Well, was there anything that was just sort of like that kid in you treasure hunting going, hey, did they leave treasure behind? Or was it just determined, no, there's not enough wealth here. There's no main vein that can blow open the banks of the biggest treasure. It just wasn't worth it. Maybe there's areas that are better. I don't know, but it would be interesting to see what happened here. And so if you're in Fairplay, you're about 30 minutes away from Breckenridge. If you're in Alma, close to County Road 9, you're probably about 15 to 20 minutes away from Breckenridge. As you start to get into the mountains, your sort of condition of the road is going to slow you down. So the further off the county road you are, the longer it's going to take you. But if you can stay near 9 and just sort of branch off into County Road 1, County Road 14 is there. County Road 12 will take you to Mosquito Pass, all the way up till you get to Hoosier Pass, the Continental Divide, where you're going to hit Park County, becoming Summit County. That whole area is something that I'm actively investigating the history of because I think it's so cool. I'm really interested in building a house there and seeing what I can discover about this amazing county. Fairplay was called Fairplay. Then it became South Park City. Then it became Fairplay again. And now they've got a museum of South Park City in Fairplay. And that's silly, but it's super cool. It's super cool. And I hope we can figure out some really interesting stuff.